Um, Drawn, did you want to get us back on topic?
Oh yeah, well I mean
I
that's
have one more point that I was going to make, just real
okay.
quick here,
Yeah.
and it was in fact on topic.
Oh no
Um,
way. First
this
time all
is
night.
this is a kind of a comparative thing, and go back to 2 points that were made earlier. Number one, um, why do we mentor people? And number two, like differences between Spy Party and other esports, for instance, StarCraft. I think one point that we have here is that Spy Party has a very different problem from StarCraft when it comes to retention of new players and things like, well, you can't even get into StarCraft because of the micro requirement. I think the barrier to entry for Spy Party is that the real depth and the real cool stuff about this game is not immediately visible to new players. New players who start playing this game come into it often apparently with this feeling about it that it's this really shallow like game, and they like are shooting for like these silly reasons, and they think it's more or less a guessing game, and like there's not really a whole lot to it. And part of what I think Spirit was getting at earlier, as well as Wodar, is that what you want to do in mentoring is kind of expose the world to them, like, of no, this is what Spy Party really is, right? It's a lot more complicated, and it's a lot more interesting than you thought it was. And I think that part of the problem is that with StarCraft 2, for instance, you can watch like two really high-level players go at it, right? And you can appreciate that you're seeing professional level play.
But you won't understand a thing.
Yeah, you can totally get it.
Understand that it's high level though.
Yeah, you can totally get it. You can watch TLO go at it with someone and go, oh wow, that's really cool what he just did. And then let me finish my point real here. And with Spy Party, you can't really do that so much. Like you can't watch anyone playing. Anyone here, if you watch them play a game against, for instance, another high-level player, and you have never played a game of Spy Party in your life, you're gonna have no idea what's going on. You're not gonna be able to appreciate it.
Yeah, there
at
aren't
all.
giant explosions to all go at, and you're like, oh yeah, that was sweet.
Dude, can we get
I mean, all you can see is he shot that guy or did shot that guy. I have no idea why he's highlighting necessarily. So like part of the challenge is to get people to kind of figure out what's going on, and not just a problem for mentoring is exposing people to the depth of the game. That's just a problem that the game has in general, I suppose. But that's just a distinction I wanted to make.
Yeah, it sort of has a wall of entry. It kind of sucks that in order to explain the game, you need a chat command that's basically a wall of text in your Twitch chat. Like, this is what this game is, and this is how you play it.
I mean, like, I feel like you're a little bit incorrect with with your StarCraft thing. Cause like I mean, if you give me two games of StarCraft, one of them say like intermediate level, one of them high level, there's no way I could tell the difference unless I have a commentator of some kind telling me what's happening. In much the same way for Spy Party, I feel like you really need a commentator to guide you through what's happening, unless you already are KCM level and you know why something happened was really cool.
I think the point Caley is trying to get across here, Wodar, is that Spy Party is just a very, very different game to games like StarCraft, strategy games, fighting games. And it's just really hard to have someone who's completely new to it be able to wrap their brain around it.
I disagree with Wodar. I agree with Caley 100% on this one. I think you're exaggerating a bit, Wodar, in what he's saying. Where as a person who doesn't play StarCraft at all, you immediately start watching it, and you can tell when somebody's flailing around or when they know what's going on. Like if you probably won't be able to tell a difference between the ultra high level like Stefano versus Boxer play, but you won't be able to tell the difference between that and two like intermediate players who aren't scrubs.
Good Gold League players or something, yeah.
Yeah, they're like they know what they're doing. They're sending big armies, but you can definitely tell the difference between somebody who's just kind of like scrubbing their way through it, like somebody who's clicking slowly and randomly and doesn't know what's going on. Like they're just flailing around.
I'm not saying like there's no way that I could tell when someone is really new to StarCraft. That's not what I'm saying.
There's no. Yeah, you could. I could give you two.
No. I'm saying that I could tell the difference between a really new player at StarCraft and like someone who is like an expert, but I couldn't tell the difference between someone who's intermediate and an expert.
Right, and that's a much blurrier line. But the point that Caley made, and here's where I think there's a misunderstanding, is that Spy Party doesn't have that at all. If you've never played Spy Party before, you immediately two people are streaming, you click the stream and you watch it, and as somebody who's never played the game before, a game beats me and Drawnonward. Drawnonward versus Virafo, the two most experienced players in all of SpyParty, are playing against each other. You as a person who's never played before can't tell the difference between that game and Mr. 00 versus Mr. 00.
Yeah.
And that's really, really hard to get around. And there's also that definite problem that the game new players feel the game won't see the depth of the game. Like it's not on the surface. SpyParty looks like Guess Who. People are playing it like Guess Who. When I think it was GameSpot or something, they did like some kind of surprise. They decided not to tell Checker that they were going to be streaming and featuring his game. And it was kind of frustrating because they just log in one day, nobody's in the lobby except for me. And it's lucky that I was in the lobby at all because otherwise their SpyParty feature would have had no players. And so they've never played before. They invite me, and my friends, like, they don't play SpyParty. They don't give a shit, but they watched the stream just because I was being featured on it, and they were having a lot of fun watching it. They're like, hey, and they're asking me like, hey, are you the blue guy? I'm like, no. And he's like, because this guy just keeps saying, oh, I bet this KCM guy would pick a danger character just to show off because he's on a show right now. And I'm like, that's not how I played the game. And I told my friends, like, no, I just picked random. Like, I didn't put any thought into it. I just picked random. I'm just playing. And they didn't.
A ton of new players seem to think that it's like, oh, well, I'm just gonna pick Top Hat guy because he's awesome looking, or I'm gonna pick Sue because she's cool. We so rarely think about who we pick like that.
They have fun with that, but if they fail to find the underlying depth beyond that, like, it's fun to start off a game just being stupid and terrible at it. That's fine, and you can have a lot of fun. Player retention comes from realizing that you can actually develop something in the game, and not enough people get to that point.
From regular stream watchers of mine, and I bet Kaylee's the exact same thing, right? Where if somebody comes in for the first time, they make comments like, "Oh, shoot this person, LOL." They're cute about it, right? But then as they watch more and more, if they become a regular of any given stream or follow the game at all, they like, wait, hold on. There's reasons he's doing these things, and he explains them. And then they kind of slowly get a basic understanding of the game as people explain to them in the chat and the streamer does. And it's really cool to watch them go from this person who knows nothing to this person who has a lot of respect for these players because they understand there is a reason. It is not just Guess Who. And it's really sweet to watch. You can't watch a normal player do that.
Yeah, streaming and casting, and hopefully in the near future, spectation, are really good things for SpyParty. To follow up on my earlier point, like, you can't tell the difference between newbie SpyParty game and elite SpyParty game. It's really hard to even understand like concepts in a good SpyParty game versus StarCraft. Like, you can understand things like, oh, look at the split. Like, you can see visually a lot like how this complicated split was a good idea and how it led to good consequences for this Protoss player or whatever. In SpyParty, you can't even really get like why what just happened was good for the sniper. Like,
well, a game of SpyParty ends in one decision or one mistake, so you can say like, this is the perfect spy round, and they still lose, and you can't. Right. It's hard to explain to somebody why the spy did such a good job and yet still lost.
That's another great thing about replays, though, is that when we stream, we'll start looking at replays, and people will say, hey, they did that, and they got them shot. That's okay. That's interesting, and then we'll develop from there.
Yes, and I think that's part of what is going to be really good for SpyParty is, again, replays are excellent. In part because it makes casting so much easier. Because casting and streams, and again, hopefully soon spectation, allows someone to explain why this is a really good play, or explain these concepts, and they're pretty easily graspable once you have someone there telling you. Like, I've had a lot of experience with like newer people watching my stream, because I'm a member of this other like high population community. I drag people into SpyParty from my stream, or from this other community, and they start out again with that like, oh, Blue Danger, Orange Dress, and then they kind of appreciate more and more how things go along. So I think that having more casting, having expectation, and replays already really make the game a lot more understandable to the new player.
I gotta say one thing that I've really been enjoying is, I've been enjoying casting myself, but I really enjoy seeing other people do it too. I like when I see Caley casting. I like when I see KCM dissecting replays and going over every minor thing that people are doing wrong and correctly and complimenting or saying they're bad. It's really good for learning for not only those players, but everybody who watches it. It's really important in my opinion.
Concur.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd say actually, like from all the replays I've watched, yours, KCM, was one of my favorites. Next to Teboshi's shoutcasting.
Replays? Oh, you mean my casting?
Your
His cast is awesome, yeah.
cast.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing another one probably this coming week. So.
Yeah, I saw that. I was pretty darn excited. So.
Shameless plug time.
Woo!
I could do it, but I'll wait till later.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think we're quite done yet.
It was such a bad set for me.
I know it's going to be. There's a lot to talk about. So
yeah, there is.
I wish you had stayed on Ballroom all night because.
Yeah, it's probably true. Ballroom was an interesting experience for me because it's not a map I play a ton.
That's yeah.
Can we gripe at Ballroom right now?
No, not now.
I like Ballroom. And
I like Ballroom too.
Drawn, what's ask us a question, or otherwise we're just gonna wander around.
So
Please.
So do you guys think that when spectations happen, right? When spectation becomes a thing, like a real thing, do you think that becoming a new player with, say, I don't know, 50 games or 100 games or 500 games, I know that now with replays, it's a lot more accessible. Yes, it totally is. But when spectation becomes a thing, ideally in the near future, quote-unquote soon, do you think that perhaps the actual number of games played might be a lot less relevant in the upcoming future? And do you think we can mentor through proxy, right? We can maybe be online on the TeamSpeak perhaps, or just type, and they might be able to see it, and maybe me and KCM are playing, and I go, oh, I shot him for XYZ, and this is how that works, because AIs don't do, NWO or something like that. Is that plausible?
Well, I know I learned a lot more from streaming than what people have told me, because like we've established, there's a difference between hearing something or reading something and actually seeing it in action. So watching replays, I think you'll get a lot more knowledge. I'm sorry, spectating games will give you a lot more knowledge of the game than just being told so by a mentor.
Well, I have a longer response if that's okay.
Go ahead.
If anybody had a short response and wants to go first.
I'll go first. I'll say my short thing. I don't think that spectation will help in quite that way, Drawn. I don't think you'll see a lot of new players hopping on. Oh, look, these two high-level players are playing each other. I'm gonna, spectate. I think they'll tend to play each other or not. They'll find a game or they'll drop off. I think whatever spectation has really helped is, again, it'll make casting a lot easier. It'll make the ladder matches a lot more cool, because right now we have to go through replays, which is better than the old school style of we're gonna cast the VOD, right? But back in the dark ages. But it's still not quite as cool as live spectation would be, So I think it's going to help a lot more on that front than it is on the actual new players who are going to log in and watch high level players go at it.
This is I'm sorry, Casey. I got to interrupt you just one more. This is slightly off topic, but do you think spectatorship itself is going to have a? Do you think people are going to feel a need to watch SpyParty matches in SpyParty? Do you think it's going to? I'm not going to say take over Twitch, but do you think it's going to have any more exposure than Twitch?
No, absolutely not. You still have to pay $15 to get into the SpyParty and to actually watch the replays in SpyParty. But Twitch is free. Twitch is free. Oh my God, Twitch is free. There we go. And and a lot of the games that you would want to be watching are from people who are streaming already, because they already have a high level amount of games most of the time. And you get a lot more people in because, again, it's free. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to hear what KCM has to say.
Yeah, please, KCM. Thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting.
I think Guess Who would be a more interesting game if you could only ask subjective questions. Do you think your character is attractive? You have to make an evaluation.
Is this what you were going to say for realsies?
Okay.
Yes. Yes. I love you so much, KCM.
I couldn't help it that your chat is exploding about Guess Who.
It's fine.
Okay, first of all, not even putting spectation into the situation yet, and not even really talking about replays. Here's what's happening naturally in SpyParty and what's been happening since I entered. So, when I entered, the top player was Sawchuck, although he wasn't playing anymore. Like he had 5,000 games when I started playing, and he's literally played less than 500 games since I joined. So I can't speak about his skill level. So from my perspective, the top players in the game had 3,000 games played, and that's like Viri, R7, it's Titleist. There were a handful, and
Yeah.
it was essentially the same number of players at 3,000 as there are at this level with or around 5,000 to 6,000 or 5,000 and higher. It was the same number, but it was a lower number. So here's what we had: players at 3,000, and that's essentially the highest skill level of the game, and all the techniques that they used were accessible around a 2,000 game level. Except of course theirs were more refined by 1,000 games of experience. So the overall gap between a 0-0 and 3,000 was smaller. I'm trying to do this all in my webcam view. It's pointless. It was a smaller gap. Now the gap has widened considerably. So the gap now is 12,000 games of experience versus 0-0. It's quintupled, right? But what has happened is the technologies of the 3,000 players are now accessible at a much lower level. It's the skill ceiling has risen so high, but the technology available has dropped. So players who needed to have 2,000 games to be able to do the top techniques at the time are now able to access those at around 1,000 games, and that's from a purely like percentage standpoint, where the technology, you had to be about 2/3 at the 2/3 range of the experience, you're now accessing it like the 1/12 range comparatively. And this is all because information is bleeding down. It's just trickling down. It's everywhere. People are talking about the game. People are playing the game. The skill ceiling is so high that people are immediately trying to get to that level faster, and they're forced to learn other things quicker. And as 2 or 3 people do it, they do it against their opponents. Their opponents pick it up faster. So even without like spectation and replays, this is an effect that I've noticed. And you see this now where you have like 500 game players who are Twitch flirting and stuff, and it's really exploding because of replays and spectation. I don't think it's going to happen more as a result of spectation. I think it's happening more as a result of the skill ceiling rising. It's kind of like this secondary effect. So that's what I've noticed since I've joined. It's kind of weird. I can't really put it into a proper wording, which is why it was so long.
Yeah, God, it's weird seeing someone who has sub 1,000 games Twitch floating.
Yeah.
I had a player with
that
100
just
total
seems
wins
wrong
announce to me the other day that they were trying to play behaviorally, which I found really interesting. I was like, wow, how do you know what behavioralism is? They're like, oh, well, I read the forum post. I'm like, oh, all right.
Oh wow.
Yay.
Whoa, what? They read the forum post?
Yeah, the
Wait, there's a
forums. Because
Who's this person?
I don't remember the.
They must be like a genius by now if they
This was
actually
like
read
4
everything
days
in
ago.
the forums.
Yeah, you're gonna get these players who are improving really rapidly. Like two people who often play each other that I played both of them recently are Becker and Easy, and they're both getting really good now.
Dude, I was playing Easy today, and
Yeah.
he has some amazing passing techniques.
yeah, his
Yeah.
pathing was
Yeah.
very good for his number.
And he
of
hasn't
games. I
played
was
that many
impressed.
games, has he? I don't remember how many games he has, but he doesn't.
He has what,
He-
1,000?
He has about 1,000 games.
Yeah, and he's playing like really, really well. Like relative to what a 1,000-game player was when I reached 1,000 games, he's playing way better.
Yeah, definitely playing a lot better than I was when I had 1,000 games.
And it's all
But
because
like
of
he's still missing some like fundamentals as like a sniper and like some things that.
Well, I don't
want
want to go too into any
But-
specific player.
No. I'm saying that like he has some like really high level techniques, but like he's still missing some things, which I mean I guess would mark him again as a 1,000 game player.
Yeah.
The point being, I guess, that like players with relatively little experience have way more technology, and like the people tier of what makes for the highest level of play don't have as much separation anymore. I suppose. I think one of the more interesting things is how much is map sensitive. We're finding, like there's being good at SpyParty, and then there's being good at SpyParty on Gallery, which I think is an interesting thing that we've all been discovering recently. And what makes for a strong play here does not make for a strong play there. And so as new maps come out, I really think that new maps are really kind of forcing different play styles, especially as Spy, and I think that's a good thing because you have to play Gallery completely differently than you would Ballroom, even though it's more or less the same mission set as considered balance.
I think that's the thing with the difference between with people with 1,000 games a few months ago and people with 1,000 games now is because I'm gonna inflate you guys' ego here, but you guys sort of developed how people play SpyParty. So, and now that we have all these tools available to us, people are watching you and they're learning a lot faster.
I mean, I see where Spirit's coming from. Yeah, I mean,
if I might make a small thing about Gallery, it's really weird for how I play Gallery actually leaks into how I play other maps. I see that because of how essential zooming is on Gallery, I start using zoom a lot more on other maps, and it really makes me frustrated.
Okay, Wodar.
Climb down, Wodar.
What?
So I want to ask you guys. So with Gallery being a new map recently, one thing that I was thinking about was, so the idea is that the meta is going to leak into new players' understandings of maps, right? They play Courtyard 2 and they understand what might be the best hardtail to do, or that they only really need to do one, and stuff like that. But the question is, do you think that when there's a new map like Gallery, it's going to force them to think outside their their little box of tricks, their bag of tricks, and learn how to play at a lot more optimal levels because they're forced to learn these things? Do you think that's what new maps are really going to be doing to new players?
I don't think knowledge of Gallery leaking over will really be a problem unless someone decides to disable Contact EA on Balcony.
I think that I think that new players are not motivated to try new things on new maps. So you find something that works, and you specifically said, did you say new players or? Do you mean
I was
players
focused
who are
on
new
new
to
players.
A map,
Because
a new map comes out and we're all new players on that map? Is that what you meant?
I more mean new players who when they get mentoring, they would learn a map and they would learn a specific way because. What?
Okay, well, first of all, a new player
all
still
maps
needs
are
to
new
learn.
players.
They still need to learn their fundamentals, and it's more important for them to learn the fundamentals of movement and of performing the missions and just getting things done. And as sniper, learning how to find the spy and not even getting into styles, not even getting into to styles of play on either role, just learning how to be successful to some degree. And if you're a brand new player, that's what you're struggling to do, and you're probably not going to put so much thought into map-specific tactics and strategies. That's something that's going to happen more at an intermediate level. Well, you're going to begin to see that in an intermediate level when a player says, well, Purloin is really, really hard on Balcony, and it's easier on Ballroom. A brand new player doesn't see that. A brand new player is just trying to get the missions done. It doesn't matter if they're visible or not. And I think that at an intermediate level, though, that's where the problem actually will occur, though, because that's what you expect at a beginner level. At the intermediate level, I don't think players are being challenged enough or motivated enough to try new strategies on new maps. So you look at maps that are similar to each other, and you're going to play those similarly. So you say Veranda and Panopticon are both maps with really hard line of sight kind of restrictions. The sniper can't look at everything at once, and you're going to play those two maps very similarly. Fast and loose because you got to do a lot of missions. And you're probably going to look at Gallery and Ballroom very similarly because everything is visible in Ballroom at all times, theoretically, and everything in Gallery is visible at all times. And so you're going to play those maps pretty similarly. I think that the motivation has to be personal. You have to say, and it's probably a more advanced thing, like high intermediate to advanced, where you start to say what is possible on this map, what makes this map different from another map, like what makes like you can look at Ballroom and say why microfilm is so hard. It's a very easy thing to do. You say the bookshelves are really far apart. The first thing you look at in Gallery is the bookshelves are really close together. That's an easy mission to do in this map. But things like bugging, which is hard on both maps, but what they're not going to see is the different approaches it takes, to bug on each map.
I think part of the problem too is that newer players might not have an appreciation for how to play a map in a novel or innovative or kind of testing experimental way, versus a more experienced player who knows kind of what kind of dynamics to look for on a map. And I think also part of the problem might be that newer players might not appreciate how important the opponent is to how you should play a map, especially as spy, knowing how your sniper is playing. Like I remember when I was playing my first few Gallery matches, I was looking at things like how much is the sniper moving. I noticed that snipers aren't moving a lot on Gallery because they think they can see everything all at once, when really there's that little pillar in the middle, and that's a good place to transfer microfilm. All these like kind of intricate things that like I know to look for because I've played a bunch, and I think we all started looking for pillars a lot more after Panopticon came out.
Oh God!
Started to realize the power after Panopticon, and we realized that you couldn't lean left or right in his toe.
You mean Pillar Opticon?
Pillar Opticon, that's right.
Soon it will be pretty Opticon.
But that's a great example of what I mean, right? Like we have this context for understanding what makes for I guess good map dynamics or whatever we want to call it. And a new player doesn't even necessarily appreciate that. So to some extent, a newer player does have as much a free reign as a more experienced player does on a new map. They know just as much about the map more or less as the older player does. That the more experienced player is going to have a lot more tools with which to come at that new map and kind of figure out what makes for a good strategy on it.
Well, I actually think I'm sorry, excuse me, in a strange way, new players are going to have an easier time learning Gallery than older players, because older players, they've played the game for so long without Gallery that adjusting to this new meta might be more difficult to somebody who's just, getting into it for the first time.
I'd like to say like two things for this bit. Actually, this goes back to one of your points about how you say like when we're mentoring new players, we're like closing them off, making them do as we do. Well, like back for Pillargate, when me and Kaylee were just having so much fun transferring microfilms being blocked by that pillar. It actually became something that is somewhat legitimate in the way that it actually works. And that forms a new way of playing that map, right? So that becomes a new strategy, and that's something that the map evolves, right? That's not something that I would stop a new player from doing, but it's more in the way that if a new player does it, they don't understand how if that is good or bad, or how how great that actually was. And getting back to your other point that you just made now, I would actually strongly disagree. I still think that I don't think the older players will have hard times on new maps like that, where new players wouldn't.
I'm not saying that they'll have I should have worded that differently. I'm not saying they'll have a more difficult time. I'm just saying that in a certain way, it's going to be more difficult to them compared to newer players.
I know that
because we have these established patterns that we don't want to break.
Yeah, I don't have patterns on new maps, and I always have a hard time relearning pathing tells and things like that.
Well, I think there's a difference between patterns and pathing tells. First of all, learning new pathing things on a map is just something that you have to take the same approach. Wow, Wodar, I just got a face full of you eating a cookie. Very nice.
If that please.
Yeah.
I wish that it was showing his face there for everybody on the stream instead of mine. It was brilliant. Because you just see this cookie disappear into this giant forest. But anyway, Wodar's laughing so hard he had to mute himself. Same with
yeah, don't worry.
Spirit.
He's laughing, guys.
So you've got you've got to take a similar approach. I mean, you already have all this information about pathing, so it's not like you're starting over from scratch. But you are, if you want to learn pathing on a map, you just have to go to a map, hold Shift M for 100,000 minutes, and just sit there and watch what happens for
I've
X amount of
actually
time.
been watching replays of my own practice mode games instead.
That can work too, because you want to see the difference between your own movement and theirs, I guess. Well, I don't know. It's not really something that I put a lot of time and effort into. But I think there's a difference between having to soak time and energy into learning something and saying like that's a pain in the ass, I don't want to do it, and saying like I'm bringing habits into a new map, and those might not be good habits. Like many habits are tried and true. Like we know that banana split can lead to lowlights, so that's something that you're always going to consider. And on most maps, that's a pretty viable tactic, and that's going to carry over into a lot of maps. And other things, not so much. Other things are very map specific, like blocking the statue on Panopticon is extremely viable on Panopticon, but it's not something you're going to try on Courtyard, right? And it's not as effective on Gallery, but it is effective on Gallery. So some habits will carry over. I think where it becomes problematic is when people fail to be flexible, and I think this isn't so much a problem at the top levels where players are willing to lose a lot of games. Top players in SpyParty are more willing to take a loss of 50 games in a row than an intermediate player or a beginning player. A beginner player will just flat out quit. An intermediate player will get frustrated and say, I really suck at this game and I'm never going to get better at it, but they'll stick it out because they played 2,000 games and they're like, but if I'm going to suck, I'm going to suck for another 2,000 games, right? And top players will just say, I'm going to lose a lot, and I'm going to lose a lot and learn this map. So the intermediate players are all going to benefit from the high-level players' experimentation. But that's what I try to do when I see a map. I try to say, what do I think is going to be possible when I first sit down in the map? Like, where are the good hiding places? Where can I try to do this and this and this? And I try to analyze it from both perspectives. So I say, well, what is my tendency as sniper? Well, my tendency is to zoom in on the back wall. So that makes the front area really, really exposed. I can go up there and add time all day. And then I say, well, my counter to that is I'm going to play zoomed out a lot of the time. I'm going to catch the time adds, but I'm going to really have more trouble with purloin. And, trying to look at those kinds of things. Just go into a map, expect to lose a lot. Play your first 100 games and just, try out every single possibility. Like, try to transfer microfilm in every possible way. Try different swap tactics. Not that there are many. See just how viable BB and BB split are.
Yeah. I feel like like this versatility that you talk about is actually stems a lot from how the meta now is playing any like 4 of 6, any 5, 7, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that makes it so that the spies that we play are very opportunistic and very very flexible depending on what situation is at hand.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what brings a lot, like how it's quite a lot easier for like high-level players to adapt to new maps because we're just searching for opportunities, not necessarily remembering.
Not strategizing as much.
Exactly.
Like if we were doing pick 4 of 6.
God, if the meta was pick, I don't know what I would do.
There is.
I really like pick, by the way.
Oh my God!
I know, Kaylee.
I also
why would a hard tell person
like
pick? What?
Where the spy has to eliminate a mission. So I like A46 ballroom, A46 gallery. I like missions where the spy has to make a choice about something the sniper absolutely does not have to pay attention to. I think it's interesting. But anyway, that's my little.
I really enjoy that. I think the difference between I think most players would say the difference between any 4 of 6 and pick 4 of 6 for spy is very, very, very different. I think most players would say the difference between any 4 of 6 and pick 4 of 6 as sniper is almost moot.
Yes.
But I disagree. I think there's a lot of potential for meta in making assumptions about what a player will choose to do. I think, if you pick 4 of 6, they've removed 2 additional missions. You don't know what they are, but you can make assumptions. Like they're not going to do all 3 hard tells.
But that's the basis of behavior, isn't it? That's That's what someone
Right.
might do.
Right, but I think this is a place where I think some of the I think pick could be more interesting than players are going to make it, but I don't think it's rewarding enough to motivate players to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the time, like how could you ever pick bugging the ambassador? Because of how opportunistic
All
that
the
mission
time, I
is.
would pick that.
It becomes
Yes, but-
it becomes far less opportunistic when you have to do it. Because there's a difference between, in pick spending the entire game trying to find that one opportunity versus playing a game and just seeing the opportunity, whether you need to do the mission or not.
Yeah, pick forces a very much more planned, strategic style of play from the spy, which is part of why I think it's interesting. Like the spy has to
Do
have
you
a
think
plan
that
to complete
if
their
we were
mission.
trying to find the optimal pick setting for, say, Courtyard 2, we might want to cut it down a mission so it's like pick 3 of 5 or something like that?
No, I don't.
I think
I
time
still don't
becomes
think
the
so.
issue there because 3 minutes to do 3 missions is really, really loose and easy.
And also, if you
I
down
think
to 3, then we have.
I think pick 4 of 7 would probably be more appropriate. I know you can't 7 on Courtyard, but
I mean,
I was
like,
gonna
again,
say, add books.
we have to consider, like the soft tails that we love, and that really give the sniper almost no information at all.
Yeah, I would get
Except if you're
crushed
very-
if we went to pick 3 of 6 on
Everyone.
Courtyard 2. I would just get beat repeatedly probably until I
You
unless I really hardcore assumed like going into it that like the 3 were going to be DA seduce.
That's what you
inspect.
do until they
Really?
stopped.
I doubt that even if you knew that the 3 they're going to do is DA seduce and inspect, you'd be able to catch them.
Oh,
I
in a
think the
known
majority
3.
of the time you'd get timeouts. Actually, I think
I mean, even if I can beat someone if
more
it's known
timeout.
3 DA seduce like inspect like.
On Courtyard 2?
That's not too bad. Yeah, on Courtyard 2, if it's known 3, those 3, then yeah, I'm not that bad at behavioralist. I'm pretty bad, but I'm not that bad. Like known 3 soft tells is still really hard to do if you're a reasonably good sniper. I think.
I could not see you winning like half the games as sniper.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Throwing down.
shots fired.
I think that should be a
No,
challenge
like-
next time Kaylee streams.
I mean, like how you see it, KCM. How would you do on like Courtyard 2, known 3 soft?
Known 3 soft tells is really, really sniper friendly. I think when we first started playing it, it wasn't so bad, but I've recently Kledos is kind of my go-to guy for playing that mode, and he and I kind of just agreed after a lot of games that it just wasn't very fun. Knowing every mission that the spy is going to do, you can either essentially you're either going to get a timeout situation, a really, really desperate attempt to bait a shot, or the majority of the time the spy is going to get shot.
Really?
In most situations, the spy is going to lose. It's a really, really hard mode, and it requires so heavily on AI being friendly to you. The real
because, like, the
clincher is inspect. Inspect.
yeah, I was about to
is
say
a
is it
killer.
because of the inspects
Yeah, the inspects they break it. Not enough AI will go to the statues to
a few
make
times.
known inspect viable.
Yeah,
I think bug and microfilm. So you take bug microfilm BB is probably a more viable known 3 setup. than a lot
Oh
of
my gosh.
What if it was known 3 and it was you only had to inspect 2 instead of 3?
I
Would you
think
be able to
Like
do
on
something
Courtyard
like that?
2?
I think
Courtyard
just
2, yeah.
known 3 just
Still brutal.
is not a great mode. Like anytime you know all of the information that's going to happen, you force a player. The spy has no choices in known 3. No
Well,
choices.
there's nothing but bad choice. You know what it kind of reminds
nothing.
me
Yeah,
of?
nothing
Is
but
like
poor, bad choices.
is like you remember that really the worst King of the Hill match that we did where like the spy could only win his snaps via missions. It reminds me kind of that. Like you're either going to pick snaps or you're not going to pick snaps, and it's like that. And you're either going to finish your missions and probably get shot, or you're not going to finish your missions and lose to timeout. Like it's really hard to win a spy like on known 3 soft tells just because not enough AIs do the mission behaviors.
Well,
Like,
that's I feel like that's because it's balcony and like seducing on balcony is already very hard to begin with. But I'm feeling like let's say we do ballroom 3 known soft tells. I feel that's very hard for the sniper. Because even if you know that they're going to be like looking for their seduction target, banana breading and going to the center statues.
You'd be surprised how few AIs go to center statues or to side statues twice on ballroom. Oh yeah, like that's like what bad. Like KCM like 4 or 5 tops. Like if it's just AIs, something like that.
That's a lot worse than I thought it was.
I don't know. That would be my estimate of how many like AIs just naturally go to either the center statues or side statues twice.
Yeah, it's like one. It's one per game. One AI per game, I think, will be able to get all 3 in specs. It's pretty bad. Yeah. On Courtyard 2, it's not as bad, but you still highlight everybody visit statues. You're only going to have like 5 of them most of the time.
Oh God, you're right.
And then who are they hanging out with? Which ones are in conversation during BB?
That's sad realization.
It's not supposed to be a balanced game mode. It's supposed to be silly.
Yeah, but when it first came out, it was really fun and interesting and new. And now
when
it
first
like
came out, it wasn't balanced then either. When it first came out, we all thought it was really spy friendly, and then everybody pretty much found out it wasn't. It was never seen as balanced. It went from being super spy friendly to being super sniper friendly, and the game doesn't need to be like tailored to make K3 Softel's more balanced.
I never realized how game breaking inspecting statues is.
Balance isn't the problem in SpyParty though. See, if in any situation where you switch roles, so you play one spy round, I play a spy round, you play a spy round, I play a spy round. Even if snipers win 99% of the games, the winner of that set will be the person who wins the one spy game. And if it's the other way around, if the spy has the advantage, spy's winning 99% of the games, the winner of the set is going to be the one who wins the one sniper round. I think having like what we want to have is a better role balance where there's no more than like a 60-40 variation is ideal, right? Because you don't want to have one role dominating. But we're having a lot of fun with the game now, and it's more like it's like 70-30 right now, or if we want to be really generous, like 35-65, obviously in favor of sniper. And you see this in all of competitive sets, especially on the ladder, where the set will go to the player who's won 4 spy games, right? And it's almost like you're playing soccer, and the sniper is the goalie, and the spy. Anytime the spy gets a win, it's like you're getting a goal. You're not going to get many of them in a set, but you're going to get 3 or 4. That's generous for soccer. It's more like hockey. It
almost feels like breaking serve in tennis as well, kind of like that's like the person who serves has the advantage, and breaking serve is like an accomplishment. That's how you're going to end up winning the game.
Exactly, and I think that's one thing I really like because it goes well into having a match mentality, like saying I only need to pull out like a few really, really amazing like moves on spy, and as long as I have more amazing moves than my opponent, and that's interesting. SpyParty has been an interesting game as a result. The problem with the known 3 Softels isn't that spies are losing 90% of the time. It's the problem is it's just not interesting. Like snipers are winning and they're not enjoying their wins. They're not feeling proud of it, and that's where the problem is. It's just not interesting. At least that's my assessment.
Yeah, I concur. Like I remember once, I think Zero made a video of my match like against Drawn for the first King of the Hill thing. And he was like, "We're trying to build the hype around like some of my sniper shots." There's no hype to be built. It's just nope.
Oh, he noticed another hardtail. Woo!
Yeah, exactly. It was like so dull. Like
I disagree. I think your sniper play is actually pretty interesting, but. I mean, I don't think it's the most interesting, but I don't think it's drab. I think you watch yourself and you think it is.
Yeah, maybe because I understand like what's going on in my head a little better, but to me it just seems like, well, I saw swap.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if we might want to end it around now. It has been about 2 hours. What do you guys think?
I think we should go until you have to stream again.
I could keep going until I keel over.
I'll keep going. Cleto said something kind of interesting on these on the subject of Sign T specialism and how that affects like role balance. So, well, he didn't make a comment. He just said as long as there aren't too many Sign Ts. So for those who don't know, Sign T is pretty much the only specialist in the game. He's the only person who refuses to play one of the roles. He only plays sniper. I don't want to get into a lot of details about how I feel about specialism or anything, but purely from a tournament and competitive play standpoint, it is viable if you do team tournaments where you have two specialists, and we had that one tournament which was the majority of people signed up as teams because being on a team just sounded really fun, and it was a lot of fun. And it's still interesting from a gameplay perspective, like how you pick your teammate. Do you want somebody you're gonna be the sniper? Do you want somebody who's gonna be a really quick and crazy spy, or do you want like a slow, methodical spy? There's a lot of there's team synergy in that as well, where you want somebody who can make up for the mistakes you're gonna make. If you're not feeling like you're the most solid sniper in the world, you probably want somebody who's a more slow and methodical player. If you feel like you're gonna win 90% of your sniper games, you just need a spy who can win one amazing game. So I think that specialists can fit into the broad spectrum of balance, but they won't do it on their own. They're going to need the team to do it.
The problem with only playing snipers is that you're missing out on half the game, or I suppose.
Yeah, but I didn't want to get into because I
feel like there should be a place for specialism in SpyParty. I
don't think specialism is bad. I'm just saying that there are pitfalls to it, like I said.
Yeah. Well, there are pitfalls to a lot of things. I mean,
there are pitfalls to not understanding. There are pitfalls to not understanding the counters to what you do, and I think it takes a lot longer for a specialist to find those.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like there should exist, in some point in time, a specialist tournament.
That would actually be really
I guess there could be.
I would watch that.
The problem with it would be that you'd need heavy role balance. Right now, we can have competitive tournaments that are balanced, and
any SpyParty is balanced right now, just because you have to play a sniper and spy.
Yeah.
Like if you had it be a specialist tournament of some kind, then the sniper's just gonna win. Because
the top players will be snipers, and you won't have a definite winner unless you do some kind of snipe off, where it's whichever sniper can kill the most spies in the shortest amount of time. And because at the end of it,
what you could do is you could have a bunch of sniper specialists, and they have to go against one spy, all of them, and then whoever gets those wins.
Yeah, but then it's just a battle of fatigue. The person who plays against the player second or third, it's after they've warmed up, but before they're too tired to continue. That's not going to work, and you'll never be able to really evaluate your sniper play against Scientees ever.
I mean,
if it's me versus Scientee, I will win every sniper game because he's a terrible spy. Yes. And I'll probably win less than half of my spy games because the game is sniper friendly. So who's the better player? You'll never fucking know.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the hope that one day we'll have a balance between spy and sniper, because even though we don't really need that because of how people play both roles right now, if we ever do want to have a specialism, so that it actually is balanced for saying, I just want to play sniper, I just want to play spy.
But that's desirable, just because the game auto balances so easily the way it is right now. You have to play spy and sniper, and it's so subjective trying to figure out when spy is balanced with sniper. That's a lot harder.
It's not subjective.
As a non-specialist, though, I don't want to live in a world where I have to say that my ability to beat a player is going to be determined by one of the roles that I play. I feel like I'm pretty good. I'm pretty decent at both roles. But
I'm sorry,
I wouldn't want to put all of my money on just one role.
I'm sorry, but to take it back to what you just said, didn't you just say when you're playing a normal round of SpyParty, you said that the real winner is the person who got that one spy win?
That's not. I feel like that's taking it really out of context, because what I'm saying is I would rather look at it in the broad spectrum of a match where you play both spy and sniper, and saying what is my expectation in this set. Okay. 10 games each, my theoretical expectation is the sniper wins every game, because that's where it's kind of slated. And if you can break that expectation by one game, make it 90% sniper wins, 10% spy wins, then that's going to secure you the victory in the set. Yeah, and looking at it as an overall set and just instead of just individual games. But then applying it from the different perspective where I've equally leveled both of my skills as spy and sniper, or maybe not so equally as I'd like to think, but I put 50% of my time into spy, 50% of my time into sniper. If I go up against Science-T, at any given moment, you're cutting my game experience into half. I'm only using 50% of the effort that I put into the game, and he's using 100%. And I don't get to choose my role. He chooses it for me. I don't like any of those factors. I don't want to get into specialization because we're talking about one player. It's too individual, and it's basically we're just talking about Science-T. It's just not. I don't think it's conducive to a fair discussion, really.
Ooh. So.
I mean, you guys close it out, but I'm not gonna say.
I understand. I'm looking at some stats Checker posted.
Did he just post those? Are those new stats?
Yeah. Posted right now.
Oh, last 21 days. Nice.
Yeah.
I have to sign in.
All Blood Wolf undefeatable as spy.
Dude.
Hasn't he played
my sniper win rate's way better than I thought it would be.
How am I doing? Wow, dude, I'm way too balanced.
Wow, Drawn. Very nice.
I didn't think it would be that high.
Wow.
And my spy win is because I like to bug.
R7's played 10 games as spy.
Science-T at 100% sniper rate.
The more games you've played, the more reliable that'll be.
Yeah.
But
Veer playing 5 more sniper games than me. It's not even fair.
The rules to do two different things we've been talking about recently. One is this team tournament concept, and the other is mentoring. One of the things that I've been talking about a lot recently is it'd be really cool if we had a team event where the requirements were you had to have one player who was above a certain threshold of experience, and a player who was below a certain threshold of experience.
God, no.
This idea is so cool. No, listen.
Stop it.
I love this idea.
And then you play round-robin matches, and maybe with the experienced versus non-experienced player, you play with some kind of set handicap. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I would love to be like
versus pub thing. That'd be good.
To be sick him on KCM's train dog, and then KCM's like, go kick Drawn's noob's ass.
It'd be really good for mentoring, I feel.
Well, I don't need to say Drawn's noob ass because that's a bit redundant.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Noob, exactly.
Anyway, I think it'd be really good for mentoring because I think it does a bunch of really interesting things that normal mentoring doesn't. One, you're playing against players your own level while being mentored, which is really cool. Two, you're playing against a player who's way better than you while being mentored by a player who's way better than you, which is another really cool thing that doesn't get to happen.
And then it's competitive play on top of it.
And you get to kind of learn, if I'm teaching someone who's going up against Veer, I'm like, all right, I either want you to really slow play the hell out of this, and he'll shoot the wrong person, or I really want you to rush like a crazy person because he's not going to be looking at the list. Do not play at a moderate pace. That is how Veer will kill you. And you get to learn as the new player, what are people thinking? Why are they thinking the things they're thinking? And you get to learn kind of cool things about the game. And if you're watching, you learn those things too. So I think that would be a cool event.
That'd be really sweet, yeah.
I might do it once the ladder gets a little more established, but I think that would be cool. So I'm hoping to do something.
I would be really afraid of that. When I think about that, I think about the quote unquote the intermediate SpyParty Summer Cup, right? That's what it was named, right?
Which one was that one?
The one that you won. The Summer Cup, I want to say.
Oh, was that the thing that Royal Flush did?
Yeah.
The Summer Cup was. Okay, let's see.
Winter Cup?
The Winter Cup was before Caley joined, because that was closed beta. It was before the beta opened.
I think it
that
was the Summer Cup.
By didn't Blood Wolf win that one? Blood Wolf won.
Davis, I want to say.
No, Slappy Davis won the next one.
Okay.
The specialist.
Yeah,
the team tournament as we played it. Slappy Davis was one of the few solo entrants. Blood Wolf entered by himself as well. So Blood Wolf won.
This was the one that Royal Flush ran. Yeah.
There have been 3 SpyParty tournaments. Blood Wolf won the first one, Slappy Davis won the second one, and the third one, Turnout just won it. And that put him at the #1 spot on the leaderboard. The first tournament was like before I joined, and I think Canadian Bacon was running that one too,
Yeah.
and because he ran the team tournament,
Oh.
but that one wasn't finished, so we didn't hear the results because there weren't any.
And we did a brief normal double elimination as well to seed for the ladder at the start too. So that's another one.
Yeah, no. So I'm thinking about. So it was So it was the Summer Cup, okay, and it was basically a bunch of people who were intermediate players joining in. I remember this because there were talks of one. There was a high-level player that joined but then dropped out because he saw everyone else who was.
Wasn't it Warning Track?
Was it Warning Track?
I believe it was Warning Track. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically it was this intermediate player tournament, right? It seems pretty even. Except for by the time that the tournament was over, like at the finals.
Yeah.
KrazyCaley, who was in the finals, against who were you playing?
Variable Bread, I believe. Who stopped
Variable
after
Bread.
that?
But you were playing Variable Bread.
Yeah.
You had almost 2,000 games on him, I want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had that. Like, there was this period, like when I went from like 1,000 to 6,000-ish games, where I was just like playing like 100 games of SpyParty every day, like which I still do on occasion, but I don't quite keep up that frenetic a pace.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like this thing of experience and noob playing against experience and noob. I really don't see it as working. Because
that's why we handicap. Like that's one of the beauties of SpyParty.
Yeah, but at one point, at some point, that noob's not going to be noob anymore, and it's going to be able to easily win against experienced players.
Well, true, but the solution to that is don't have a tournament that takes like 6 months to finish. You know, like that's kind of the problem. I think
That wasn't. It didn't. I don't think it took 6 months.
Well,
to
you know what I
finish.
mean.
The problem
Not
is
a
he's
few
playing
months,
like
but,
1,000
like,
games a
yeah.
week, and nobody else around him was.
But you know, I think that's fair. You know, if you're willing to like put in 1,000 games, well, not that I'm playing 1,000 games a week, but like if you're willing to play that much, then more
it's not your fault. I'm more saying that like the central idea of this, I feel was flawed.
I don't actually.
I don't think
remember
it is
that
at all.
tournament. Just to clarify, Zero TKA told me Bogger ran the first tournament, not Canadian Bacon. Canadian Bacon did run the team tournament though.
Yeah.
He also offered up.
I don't even know
prizes.
that name. We need to get some prizes in on this as well.
Yeah,
Tim, you made that suggestion to me recently, and I think that's a really good suggestion because I think that'll fire up the old competitive spirit. I thought it was you, or no, it was
I
John.
did. Yeah, I made a
Okay.
suggestion for.
It was
some
such a
sort
good
of-
suggestion that I thought it came.
Competitive spirit, but I don't feel like I'm competitive, Kelly.
Yeah,
No,
John
but
could not
John
have
made
come
the
up with it.
suggestion recently that we need to incentivize like somehow the ladder, and I thought that was a really good suggestion.
Dude, we give them.
I thought bragging
we
rights
give
was
them
a
magic.
damn good incentive.
No, Magic
that
Vista
too.
packs. They Kaylee, we have to
Wodar,
the
come
next
on.
DVD.
Wodar.
I do
Not
think
everybody
that,
plays all the games you play.
I do think that one thing in the ladder that is lacking is that there's a high amount of hype for the top ladder spots. Like, you know, the person in the number one spot's going to get all the respect and credit and whatever. But I think it's really important that players who are jockeying for lower positions that they feel incentivized to do that. That knowing that you've only played like 1,000 games, that you're not yet at the level to beat Turnout, Canadian Bacon, and Scientist one at a time, or skip to the top by beating them on their terms, with 2 handicaps. I think that's going to demotivate players at the lower end of the bracket.
Yeah.
So we need to make that more exciting. I think those are the games that really need to be cast, and they need to know that there is value to those positions as well.
Yeah, I did. When we were popping out ideas for this ladder thing back when that was still in the brainstorming phase, one of the things I suggested was a promotion relegation system with a certain number of leagues, and then you could be the champion of the whatever league, and then you get promoted to the next highest, and then there's a lot more hype built around these kind of intermediate
individual one.
I don't remember why that was rejected. I think it was because we feared that maybe we wouldn't have enough players to really get that going. And
we already don't. anyway.
And it would rely upon some kind of season where everyone would have to play everyone, and that wouldn't be reliable. One of the big things about the matter match is that you can challenge whenever, and inactive players don't matter so much. But
not only that, but
like that.
I remember this. One of the reasons why we rejected that is because Viri made really good points on the forums talking about how there's basically like segregates. God damn it.
Segregates.
Thank you. People were saying like you are not as good as these people, and he felt that was really bad for the SpyParty community.
Especially considering how small it is, there's a lot of pitfalls in a league like this because we're just a small group of people.
Exactly, but I mean, like a small, that would be a problem of having like a minor league and a a major league, saying that you are not as good as any of these people in this league.
Yeah, that'd be pretty darn demoralizing.
See, I think
splitting
it up in like StarCraft, it's split up into so many, but that's because they have so many players they can't have them on one leaderboard. They need to split them up. We've got like 20 people.
It's pretty teeny.
I don't think a minor league and a major league is a real problem, though. I think splitting it in half is pretty reasonable, and I think it can be pretty cool to be the top advanced player and not be the top elite player.
What do you think about like splitting up like a league in that you split up based on amount of games they play?
I don't think. I think
that's not, as we were just talking about, that's not necessarily a great predictor of skill anymore.
Yeah, like I'm terrible, and I have 11,000 games.
No, I mean, I still think that if you like split between say like sub 2,000 games and above 2,000 games.
That'd be interesting.
A good predictor of skill level.
Yeah, your stats don't say that you're terrible, by the way, Drawn.
I don't know. I see the word terrible written in caps and underlined. Don't you see that line, KCM?
Like he had this two nubs playing like these nubs called Wodar and Bacon. And he stacked all his wins via that.
Oh, KCM, the only reason he has so many wins this week is because he was playing you.
It would be funny if it were true. Drawn has been running scared of me.
Here. I'll post in the chat. You should see it. This is my stats.
The next time we play,
there aren't even numbers. I don't even know what Chris posted.
What's he showing?
It's on my chat.
It's Drawn, Spy wins terrible, Sniper wins terrible.
Yeah, it's all terrible. That wasn't like describing my numbers. I don't have numbers. That's how bad I am.
The problem is that Checker fed these numbers through a computer for a week, and this is what it came up with. It's really weird.
It just keeps saying terrible.
Yeah, but only for me. And the worst part is my full name is Drawnonward, so I don't even know what happened to the other 60% of my name. I bet KCM's name is like KCMM or something. Not even fair.
Triple S.
I love it.
Style points, Topo slugs 2 glasses of water.
Yeah. So
that's how we measure style points, is how many glasses of water Topo just chugs down after he's done with casting that.
I get the idea that we might be about done here. And I would like to what?
Fun. Are you tired?
No, I'm just trying to stay on topic.
Okay.
That's mainly that.
Thank you for stopping in, Checker. Thanks for posting these stats as well. It's nice to have you watching.
Yeah, thanks, Checker.
So do you want to wrap it up?
Continue. I mean, I just was worrying that we were drifting a little bit too off topic.
No, I mean, this feels like a good position to do some closing statements.
Yeah, I am horribly ill and would appreciate the stream ending before we get to.
So yeah, if you guys want to do closing statements, and then I can plug where people can find you, ideally, and then we can.
You will give everyone our addresses.
I will, yeah. I know some of your addresses, I believe. No, offhand.
So the question
I just want to thank you guys for all coming together. You answered every single one of my questions, and I thank you for that. I knew that, I hate to say it like this, but I knew my opinion was wrong when I came into this, so I just wanted people who were more experienced than I am. I wanted to hear what they had to say about it.
Your opinion was wrong. I think you had really solid opinions on on a lot of stuff. And I think more importantly, your opinion was valuable and importantly.
God damn it, Caley.
Well, of course, Wodar's laughing about that. I
Why is
ain't gonna.
Wodar laughing? I don't know why.
No,
It's because he said like you have many opinions on a bunch of things. That's the same. That's equivalent to saying that your opinions are wrong.
valid
That's
opinions
what you're
on a
saying,
lot of
it's-
things.
No, you just
have no
you
idea
told
what
me what
he's-
you thought about it, and it helped me. It helped me realize what was going on.
I thought you had valid opinions on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean-
I think more importantly, like you have no small amount of experience, but you're the least experienced player here, and like to some extent, we get caught up in our ivory towers, and I think that like, dude, and like
Yeah,
you have some like more like. You are by no means like a new player, but you crush people when you get on roll. I mean, you're at the stage where you can easily beat like the like low intermediate level players, and you're getting pretty strong. But you're still providing like people like me, Drawn, KCM, and Wodar with like here's how it looks like to me, and I think that's really important. And I don't.
Yeah,
I
and
agree with a lot of what you
I think
said.
it's also really important to represent that skill level, that experience level rather, and that your opinion isn't. You're not the only person with that opinion at your level.
Okay.
like I mentioned at the beginning, one of the reasons why I really wanted to get you on is because you're the person who really inspired this topic about mentoring and looking into it a little deeper. So, I mean, really, for tonight, I have to thank you, Will, in a lot of ways.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
so we're doing closing statements or what's
Yeah,
going on, Green?
that sounds like the idea.
I think Kelly's closing statement would be him vomiting.
Yeah, that'll do it. No, I guess I would impress upon anyone watching this or anyone watching the VOD. If you're trying to get better, don't over rely on mentoring. Play a lot of games. If you are a player who is up there in experience level, please do mentor when you can, and and especially do the matchmaking thing that that KCM talks about, like that kind of thing, that kind of like community management. Is like really what makes the player improve in the end and what really improves the community. But put effort into making sure that new players have a good experience and that they get better.
All right, Wodar, you got something to say?
Yeah. I'm really happy you invited me on here, John. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Again, I feel that the mentoring does have a place. It does help new players get down fundamentals that they need to know about for playing this game. But again, like I feel like one of the strongest things that we need to get new players to do is play more games and become part of the community of SpyParty. You need to bring them up into the intermediate levels. Then they become self-sufficient.
And then they get on shows like this.
And they get on shows like this and become celebrities.
Oh yeah, we're all celebrities.
Our audience of 8 viewers.
Am
Oh,
I
I
total
think you're
news
more than
yet?
It's quality over quantity.
Yes.
So hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll plug a few things. Watch streams. My stream twitch.tv/KrazyCaley. Watch Drawn stream. If
Where's
you're trying-
that?
What?
Twitch.tv.
How do you watch Drawn streams? Please tell me.
I have no idea. But
Yeah, and when
What-
KCM streams, it's awesome. Watch that too.
No, this is how you watch Drawn stream. If you're watching this now, you're watching Drawn stream. Done.
Or you're watching YouTube, VOD, or
Yeah, I'm probably
Or
gonna
a-
throw this
No,
on YouTube.
or you're watching, like
If
an
you're watching
embedded
this on
link on the
YouTube,
SpyParty
go into the
blog.
description.
So,
You will have it in the
watch-
description.
you can. This is being hosted on Drawnonward stream. You can watch it at twitch.tv/Drawnonward. I think everybody should probably know that because you don't know where these videos will end
Hey,
up.
I
so.
appreciate the plug. I'll never say no to that.
I do love how we're plugging his own video on his own video.
Hey,
Wait,
you know, it works, man.
look, there is no such thing as too much publicity. I'm just gonna throw that out there. If my video could just be my logo scrolling down, right? No text, and people would watch. I don't see why that's a bad thing.
With your naked body plastered all over
No,
it.
that'd break the
Because no
Twitch
public-
terms
No,
of
with an
service.
MS Paint.
Publicity.
Oh, check
The
wants
last thing
to
the
wrap
last
this up
thing
because he wants to
is,
see the end.
I'll post this as an
KCM,
entering
It's
tool.
gotta-
Do
It's
you
gotta
have
be a
do you have any
picture.
closing statements?
Yeah, I'm gonna shamelessly plug my own stream then. Twitch.tv/KCMMMMM. There are 5 M's in there. I plan to be streaming a set of games that happened recently between KrazyCaley and Turnout 8, who's not here.
That would be amazing, I bet.
And it will go into some of the topics that we came out here, particularly with game versus match mentality, how to approach a game with a mentality to win as the overall set instead of just mentality to win an individual game. So I'm looking forward to that. So that should be this week. And I just want to thank everybody for coming on here and putting up with me ranting on and on and on
Hey,
while you
nothing
guys made
wrong with
much
that.
shorter points.
Best player in
Dare you
SpyParty.
And
talk in a
thank you,
podcast,
German,
why
for
would you do
hosting.
that?
I'm going to
No
post a link
problem.
to my book. Use this as a
I,
mentoring
yeah.
tool. It's in the chat.
All right, and Spirit Sales, do you have any closing statements?
I've already said what I'm gonna say. Thank you.
All right.
You don't need to watch me at all. It's fine.
We love you. So
Before you say something, John,
okay, yeah, go ahead.
I would like to plug my own stream also.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm at.
Stream?
I know.
I'm kidding. I'm
Weird,
kidding.
right? I used to stream a lot more. Then I stopped.
What happened?
Spy on the Hill happened, and after Spy on the Hill died, I kind of got fed up with streaming, and that's what happened. But anyway, that's the story from another day. Anyway, I'm at twitch.tv/Wodar9 because 9's a good number. But
What place are you on the leaderboard right now, Wodar?
shut up. I plan to make my redemption by streaming more because I have a lot more free time this quarter on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll see you there.
All right. So first of all, I'd like to thank you all for joining me tonight. I'm happy I could invite you all, and I'm really happy that you all are willing to come on and talk with me about these topics. I know that we can talk about them on the forums, but it's a lot different when we kind of converge together and have a real sit-down chat about it. And then the other thing I want to thank is everybody watching, because if nobody is watching, this would be cool and all, but it'd mean a lot less, especially everybody who's chatting with us. If you're not
We
saying
would have a
anything,
lot
it's
more
fine too.
swearing if no one was watching.
So
Thanks
next
for
time
rating
we
the game,
do
Shepard.
next time we need to put aside time for question and answer.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
Maybe
Well,
next time start a bit earlier.
it's a prototype.
Then-
Again, I'm not doing this because I think I have it set and final and it looks amazing and it's beautiful. I'm doing this because I want to try it out, and so far they've all been fun times. I'll put it that way.
A quick question for the stream: are you planning to do another one?
Oh, right now, unless I get the worst reception ever for this, I start getting hate tweets and people PM me on the forums.
That's a-
Drawn, you're scum. Your name's barely a real palindrome. The last D's not even capitalized. And I'm like, all right. Then I'd probably stop. But as for now, I plan. I plan on doing another one at some point. Maybe switching out a few guests, see what happens. And that's kind of my plan.
The sad part is I could see Viri posting that.
Well, that's
Indeed.
Viri. I know him. It's fine. Whatever.
All
For
right.
all we know, Viri's gonna be on the next one. So I think I'm gonna end it about now. I'm gonna end the call and everything. I want to thank you all for coming on, and I hope to see all of you around the lobby.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
I love you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. All right, that's the end of that.